Every Friday live at 8 p.m. on iLiveRadio.com. Formerly of Toronto's FM radio airwaves, DJs Gene King and Ray Prasad are in the house once again to continue their tradition, promoting great house music to the world. You will hear exclusive releases and sometimes traveling back in time via some of the best disco, soul, funk, and house. So keep it locked and enjoy the ride. DJs Gene King and Ray Prasad have provided their listeners since 1996. Vibes and vinyl in your face.
Join me, Patrick O'Mores, for the Patrick O'Mores Show right here on iLive Web Radio, Sunday afternoons from 2 to 3 p.m.
Hey, what about me?
Naida, hi.
Hi.
Who let you in the studio?
You're trying to record without me?
Okay, let me try this one more time since you're here. Join me, Patrick O'Mores, for the Patrick O'Mores Show right here on iLive Web Radio with my co-host, Naila T.
Hello. See you next Sunday, 2 to 3 p.m.
This is John Browski. If I'm not snapping necks, cashing checks, wearing the large specs, I'm tuned into iLive Radio.
You're listening to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio. iLive Radio.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Today we're doing something a little bit different. Like I said, welcome to the Patrick O'More Show. My co-host Naila has decided to take today off, so we are doing something a little different. I have in the studio, I've got Cozmic Cat. She's a local DJ who I met last week when we were doing the Omar events, and we sort of got into a little bit of conversation about music, about who she was and why she was into music. And I thought, you know what, this would be so kind of cool to bring her in the studio and just have a little bit of a discussion about what's it like being a female DJ in Toronto. And just to get to know her a little bit in terms of the type of music that she likes and why she likes that kind of music and all that sort of stuff. So Cozmic Cat, what's going on?
Hey, how's it going, Patrick?
It's going well. Thanks for joining me in the studio today. I'm excited to have you on. This is the first show actually that I've got a DJ who's going to be. You'd think that this may have happened before, but this is the first show on this radio station that we play music all the time. That I've got a DJ who's going to be playing some tunes while we have this, while we do the show. So maybe you can tell us a little about you. What's going on?
I'm honored to be the first one then. That's cool. My name's Cozmic Cat, and I'm a DJ and a producer based out of Toronto. There's a lot. Where should I start?
Let's start with, how in the world did you get the name Cozmic Cat?
Well, it's kind of a funny story. When I was just starting off DJing, I had a cat. And I would have my turntable set up, and I'd always be DJing nonstop in my living room just to practice. And the cat would get really buzzed off this cosmic catnip. And when it was buzzed on the catnip, it would be really obsessed.
So you were giving your cat drugs?
Pretty much.
Okay.
So it would get really obsessed with the turntables and try and scratch them, and we just thought that was the funniest thing. And we used to call the cat Cozmic Cat. And then the first time I ever got a gig, I was really put on the spot because they were like, "What's your DJ name?" I was like, "I have no idea. DJ Paula? That doesn't sound very cool." So I thought, "Oh, I'm DJ Cozmic Cat." So basically, it just kind of reminds me to not take everything too seriously and have fun. And
so you took your cat's name.
Basically, I stole my cat's name. It was my cat, so
you're not a cat lady, are you?
No,
I'm
a
15
no.
DJ Cozmic Cats running around your house?
No, that was my first and last cat, and I have a dog now, so I'm a total dog person.
So you've evolved into a dog person.
Evolved. No judgment.
All right, yeah. Okay, no judgment.
We love cats and dogs equally. I do.
I like animals.
Yeah, but I'm allergic to cats, and they shed. So my dog doesn't shed.
So hang on a second here. Back up a minute. So you had this cat, and you were allergic to it?
I was. I took like Benadryl every other day.
Okay, I can't say I
The
understand that
things
one.
we do for love.
That's when it's like, okay, you know what? I'm allergic to this thing. It's time to take it to the pound or something, or find somebody to give it away to.
Aw,
I like animals. I just don't think they belong in my house.
that's all good.
I had this discussion with my kids all the time. You know, I think that we bring these things inside and we try to pretend they're like family, and it's just a dog, man.
I feel the same way about children. I'm all jokes today. Are we gonna have fun today, Patrick?
I'm hoping it looks like we're starting that way.
I'm totally joking, but
But
I got you laughing.
was not expecting that one. Okay, so how long you been DJing?
It's been about 15 years. Definitely got my start in Philadelphia. I used to live there.
Aye, Philly girl.
Philly girl. I'm actually Canadian, but I moved down there and I started DJing, and I was exposed to an amazing world of funk and soul and house and hip hop, and really it blew my mind, and I got educated on classic boogie and rare groove and all that Philly sound. And then I was partying in New York, so I got to hear the club sound of New York, and so I had the pleasure of like spinning in that kind of the tri-state area, like Baltimore, Washington D.C., New York City, and
So
Philly.
you got fully immersed into the American music culture.
For sure. Definitely at that time, which was about 10 years ago. And then I moved back here, and I just kind of quit DJing. But then a friend of mine was like, you got to come out to my party and drop some records. I was like, I don't really do that anymore. But they were like, just come out, just drop a few, nobody cares. So I did, and I was like, oh my God, I miss it so much. And I kind of just started gigging.
So you
One thing led to the other, and now I gig pretty much a couple times a week.
Oh wow!
Every week.
So you came out of retirement.
I did. I really thought I would never spin again. But,
Yeah.
And I was cool with that, and I put all my records away, and
Are you like one of those people, the DJs that's got like 2 million records in their basement? You can't even turn around in the room because there's so many records down there.
well, in Philly I had a lot, and I sold maybe about 600 to 1,000 at a record show before I left. And I know Jazzy Jeff picked up a lot. And Amir also checked my collection from the Roots. But I just couldn't afford to ship everything back. So I just picked kind of my favorites,
Yeah.
and then I shipped them back. It was
Did
a
it-
lot of money.
Did it hurt to part with some of your records? Because I've talked to some DJs, and their records are like, it's so personal.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
spending the time, and I mean, a lot of people don't. A lot of the new DJ, you know, the kids coming up today, they don't know what it's like to be digging through,
Yeah.
you know, a record store to find that obscure track. And then when you find it, it's like, yes.
It
you know?
is personal, because back then they only had certain amounts that would come to that record store, and you had to be there first. You had to know when the shipment came in, and your sound definitely was shaped by the records that you managed to get before other people. It's so different now. It was very personal, and then you're touching them all the time, and you're looking at them, and it's a very, you know, you definitely internalize the whole identity of your vinyl collection. And letting go of the ones in Philly, it wasn't that hard. It was mostly, you know how, I don't know if there are any vinyl junkies out there, but when you're
There's a
just
few.
in that vinyl junkie mode, you just like
There's
go
just a few.
you just go to garage sales, and you just like get whatever, and you're just like, oh, 3 for $5, or like 3 for $1, like you just get them. So I culled a lot of just randoms. And like 80s, you know, Ronco Records presents compilations,
Any
K-Tel,
K-Tel?
K-Tel, and I'm like, really, like it's like the worst pressing ever. And I have the single, or I would get rid of the single if I had the album, or vice versa.
Yeah.
And then maybe 5 years back, I got Jason Palma from Play to Record to come over and look through the collection that I had in Canada.
Yeah.
And I let him take all that. So
Oh, wow.
it just was time, and I never thought I would do it. I always said I will never get rid of my records. But actually, when they were gone, the truck left. I actually felt this huge weight
Oh,
come
really?
off of me, and I had been moving and lugging and dusting these records for 10 years, and it was very freeing. I mean, I have a small collection of records I'll never part with.
Yeah.
And they're all ripped to, MP3 or whatever that I use. So
So you've
I feel
transferred,
free.
you transfer them
I
to
transferred all
digital.
the key records, and
Yeah.
then my very favorites, I have them at my house, and they're just mine. But it's like a couple crates, as opposed it was like a wall. And I don't know. I can't explain. I just did it, and it felt freeing.
You didn't shed a tear?
I might have. I might have. It was
Although
a while ago.
maybe it was good therapy.
I think it was
letting
good
go,
therapy, and there was no. It's like it really showed me that my identity is not my possessions, and that I am still a DJ. I'm still a person who has a lot of musical knowledge and just like love and passion for music, and it's regardless of how many records I can show people when they come into my house.
I'm gonna get you to play a couple tracks. But when we come back from that, I want to talk a little bit, about when did you discover that you had this passion for music? When you what was it that kind of drove you into this particular direction? I know based on what you were saying, you were kind of immersed into the culture, but for that, there must have been something that kind of like said, hey, maybe this is something I kind of want to do. So maybe you can give us. What are you gonna play for us? You're gonna play some favorites?
Well,
What are
I
you gonna
have so much music, and I am a bit of a chameleon when it comes to my DJing and my career. I've played so many events, like college events and underground events, and
Bar mitzvahs.
public events and private events, and hip hop and house and dance hall and like deep house, after hours and commercial and top 40. So when someone says like, oh, just throw some music together, it's easy, but at the same time it's very difficult because I have
So
like,
I'll just let
library.
you know, we try to stay away from top 40 here.
I figured that,
Because,
but
the
other
there's
people
enough
do
of that.
Other people do that, and it's not a corporate event. I get it. No fear, Patrick. I won't let you down.
All right.
So, are we playing music, or am I going to answer
It's-
that question?
No, we're going to answer the question when you get back. You can do a little thing for us right now. So this is Cozmic Cat dropping a few of her favorite tunes here on the Patrick O'More Show. Ah, there we go. Thanks, Jason. There's a reason why you're here. Cosmic Cat spitting some tunes. Listening to the song, I'm a bit of a house head from back in the day, back in the 90s. I had the permed hair and the flared pants and the paisley shirts.
I got a visual.
I had hair back then, and yes, I had the peak thing going, and it was permed and stuff like that.
Styling.
It was some serious styling back in the day. But there was a certain amount of love that you felt when you went to these parties. For me, it was my boys and I would go. There would be like 9, 10 of us that we would pretty much parties. Hope my kids are not listening right now, but we would party like almost every single night, and we would kind of adjust our work schedule so it wouldn't interrupt. We took partying seriously, so it wouldn't interrupt with our partying.
With your partying.
The best shift that you could take, is like a 12 to 8 or 11 to 7 type shift, because then you could sleep in a little bit before you had to go to work, and then work wouldn't interrupt with you having to, go meet up with your boys to go hang out and stuff. And we would spend good 4 or 5 hours on the dance floor, just dancing, just lost in the music. It wasn't about the alcohol, it wasn't about the girls. Well, there were some girls, but it wasn't about the girls, or anything like that. It was just the joy of getting lost in the music. And it just seems like that feeling of love and camaraderie and it being about the music, like that, it's like it doesn't exist anymore. I don't know. Like I look at the kids today, and even with talking with my sons who do go out occasionally now, it just seems it's about the hype, and it's not so much about the substance. Or maybe I'm just old and I'm not connecting with the way it used to be. The way it is right now.
I mean, in my opinion, I think it's a combination. Like that golden era of house music was actually in its own time, and it can't be recreated. But I do feel there's these there are events where there's a lot of positivity and love, and it is just about the music. But they're not really mainstream events. So a lot of people going to mainstream events where you're hearing mainstream music, it is all about the hype, because that mainstream music is all about the hype. Yeah. And it's just, there's a lot of amazing artists that will never be played on the radio and will never be selling 1 trillion copies on iTunes. And so a lot of kids today, in quotes, will never discover them unless they do some real digging. And I think that's where part of the love came from. It was doing the digging and being like, I'm going to put in that extra effort to find my community. And it was a community, and there was love. I feel it. And the reason I got into house, I didn't really like house when I first was interested in music. You didn't like
house music? What's wrong with you?
I mean, when I first got into music, I was more into jazz and what was on the radio, and I just knew I loved music, and Bob Marley and this and that. I just loved music. And then I was taken to this party, and there were no drugs or anything involved, but it was just like, it was the first time I really heard house music. And it was just like I was struck by a bolt of lightning in the middle of the dance floor, and I was like, I get it now. To me, it was all just beats. Like, I don't get it. And then I got it, and I was like, wow, house music is amazing. And there was so much love in the room, and there's so much love in good house music. You can feel it. It is really like a soulful experience coming from where it did. The black, predominantly the black gay communities in Chicago and Philly and Detroit and New York. And that is where these warehouse parties came from. And it expanded into this community of mostly black community. Very soulful.
Yeah.
A lot of love.
A lot of love.
A lot of love. So I feel you. But it's hard to not to look at everything and say like, oh, these people today, it's so different. Because, it's different.
The damn kids don't know a thing.
Yeah. Hopefully they find their own experiences where they need to find community.
Listen to more iLive Web Radio. That's what they need to do so that they can get
to come out to my gigs.
There you go. Get a little bit of culture. Okay, so let's talk. We've touched a little bit on your love of music, but what was the thing that really hit you that made you kind of like, I got to do this?
Well, it was always like, I think ever since I was 4 or 5, I was running around singing and playing the little Fisher-Price records and
Kid Tell records.
Loving music, and just like I always was drawn to music and playing instruments and this and that. And then it was when I moved to Philly that I was struck by the idea that it could be more than just a hobby and more than just something that I fool around with in my room or go out to clubs and hear. Like, I was like, wow, I can actually do this. Like, it can be me, like, being a music producer. And I can make a living from this and make my entire livelihood surrounded and, including music, yeah.
So at what point did you, or I don't even know if you've kind of gotten there yet, but at one point did you kind of reach and be like, oh my God, I'm actually doing this?
I think it was, for me, I felt this huge shift when I was living in Philly and I got booked in New York City to do a residency. And so I was taking the bus with my vinyl crates and a dolly cart. And I remember just getting off at Penn Station and just being like, wow, like, I have a residency in New York City as a DJ. Like, to me, I could have died that day and been happy. I was like, I made it. Like, I'm just done. But of course, I set continual goals for myself. But it's a constant thing of paying your dues and, finding new goals and new heights to achieve and new creative outlets. So.
In today's kind of instant gratification society, you touched on paying your dues. A lot of people think they go buy a computer. I go, okay, gonna go buy my Mac. Gonna get this little controller thing. I'm a DJ.
Well,
I can play 2 tunes.
The internet has been great and terrible for people's perception of any industry. And so, kids can now learn how to DJ from YouTube as opposed to, like, me. I just watched other DJs and practiced and made mixtapes and listened back to them and got feedback and etc. But yeah, there is definitely a sense of entitlement. But, I always say there's always going to be room for a good DJ or a good music producer. Like, you just can't, deny real talent or real professionalism. Like, there's some people that have a lot of hype, they have a lot of fans, they have a lot of friends, in quotes, on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. But when
I got a lot of friends on Facebook and Twitter and stuff, maybe if I could buy a controller and start saying I'm a DJ.
Well,
Jason, would you give me a spot on a station that I can...
Oh my God, the eye roll was like, it was burning into my back.
Be like, I'm a DJ now,
Yeah.
I'm just, I can come in with some already pre-mixed stuff and try to play it.
Well, the thing is, too, is that the club owners also have a hand in that because they were the ones hiring people that they don't really care what they're playing. They just, as long as you bring friends that pay, buy drinks, we don't care.
Well, that's the other thing, too, I'm wondering about is, from your perspective, is the, where's there, I guess there's some kind of a balance between, people coming, having a good time, and how much money the bar makes.
Well, when you're a professional DJ like myself, like, I don't have a day job. Like, this is what I do. I DJ and then I produce music. So it is.
So you're a DJ in Toronto, and you don't have a day job. This is all you do.
Well, my day job is producing music for my own company. So yeah.
So music is your life.
So music is my life.
Okay. Because a lot of people say, there's a lot of people out there who are like, you know what? If you're a Canadian artist, if you're in music in Canada, you got to work at Starbucks in the daytime and then do this on night, or you got to wait tables and stuff like that.
Patrick, I swear I've heard every story that you could possibly imagine about why you cannot be successful in the music industry or as an artist. And it's just like, you can listen to some of it and say that's very good, positive, constructive criticism or interesting feedback. Or you can just say, this is what I'm doing, and there's absolutely no plan B, and there's no other ulterior. There's no other option. So for me, I'm doing it. Like, watch me. I'm doing it. I have been doing it. But it's not to say to look down on people working at Starbucks, and it's also not to say that I haven't worked every damn job under the sun before I could actually quit and do my own job. I worked in so many different industries trying to make my rent because, it's not stable. So if you want the security, keep the Starbucks job. I'm not saying no to anybody working at Starbucks right now. I'm not saying that you're, because you're working at Starbucks. It's like a metaphor for like letting go and doing your own thing, Yeah. I think that's what you mean. Yeah, that's what
That's exactly what I mean. I don't want Starbucks to be suing us, or anything.
No. Well,
But yeah, you do hear that argument all the time, wherein, you have those individuals who they go out and they buy this equipment, and they think they're a DJ, and then they go out there and the reality kind of hits them, wherein
or not. Maybe it depends on their concept of what a DJ is. If DJing is spinning once a month at a party that all your friends come to, you can probably do that forever. If you want to actually like build a business with clientele that call you back and that you have a solid presence in the music industry, it takes years of grinding. And I think that's what people don't understand, that it's actually not the people with the most talent or the most best music.
But I could throw some tracks on YouTube, man, and get like 1 million hits, and everybody's gonna love me.
Yeah, and then what happens, right? You have that track, and then it's like people like even like Rihanna, Beyonce, Tiesto or Diplo. It's like you think they just drop one track, get 8 million hits, and make $1 million, and they just go home. They continuously produce music all the time. They're constantly putting out stuff. They're constantly making new albums. They're constantly touring. They're constantly doing stuff on social media. Like it's like a business.
Yeah.
So you can't stop the grind,
Let's talk a little bit about your producing. So, you're a producer. Like everybody says they're a producer these days. What does that mean for you?
Well, to me, it means that I have Ableton Live, and I make my own original music. And I also first I started off doing edits for my DJing. Yeah. Where I'd be like, oh, this song is so good, but it's so slow. Or this song is so good, I could hear it as a reggae version, or I could hear it as a house version.
So remixes.
I made a lot of remixes and edits, and I still make a lot of remixes and edit, which you can hear on SoundCloud and stuff. Sometimes SoundCloud takes them down because they literally are not my material, so it's not fair. But it's like a promo, and it's fun. But I've also had the honor and privilege of working on other people's albums, where I've had people come up to me and saying, like, I have a notebook filled with rhymes, and I don't know anything about music. Can you make beats for me? Or can you make music that I can sing along to? And so I've done that with a whole bunch of people, and a full-length album, actually 2 full-length albums for other spoken word artists and rappers mostly. And I'm currently working on my own full-length album. And I have an original track signed to an Italian label, like 99 Waves. Yeah. So it's a constant thing of every time I put out a track, I will try and get a blog, try and get it signed. But I'm not trying to sign all my tracks. I'm trying to save them for the album. So, so I'm a producer for hire, and I'm also...
So if somebody wants to hire you to produce a thing, how do they reach you?
www.djcozmic.com with a Z, the Cosmic.
Oh, yes, with a Z.
Yeah. My company is Jupiter Productions, so... that's my legal entity, but yeah, Cozmic Cat, I mean, I'm around for sure.
People can find you.
Yeah, and I love producing. It's way more challenging because there's a huge learning curve. It's not like you can just get some songs together and sync match them and then go do a show, like, and be a DJ.
So when somebody comes to you and they're like, I have this thing in my head and I can't, I don't know anything about music. How do I get that sound out? How do you work with them to figure out what's going on? Because you're, I'm assuming you're not a mind reader or anything. So, how do you kind of get inside their head to be able to create that kind of sound that they're rolling around in their head?
Well, I think my creative process is very much tied to a connection and a relationship. So I definitely have to click with the person. Like, I have to actually have that chemistry and that energy and feel like this is a positive person. I want to work with them. If their lyrics are all negative, like spitting like negativity or just the vibe isn't right, then I'll be like, oh, dude, I don't know. Go ask the other guy.
but they might be coming with money.
Money's money, but I have to know, I have to feel it. And so I'll get the connection. If I like it, then we have lots of conversations, and I ask them, oh, what are your favorite artists? Who do you listen to? Where do you envision yourself playing? Like, if they're like, oh, like, the EDM festivals in Croatia. Like, I obviously know that it's not going to be like, really mellow deep house or like hip hop. And if they're like, oh, like Mayworks Festival or like just coffee shops, or I just want to put on an album to help other people understand the issues I'm going through. Like it's all about talking to them and listening actually. And then you get the vibe, and then I'll drop some stuff together and say, what do you think? And we'll go start the back and forth.
Okay. So you brought in some stuff that you produced. Maybe get you to play, I'll give you like 5 minutes and we can come back and have a little discussion. Because time is flying.
Yeah. It's awesome. It's just great to be on here. I'm going to drop something I just made. It's obviously a remix. So yes, you'll recognize it's 112. So I do some edits and stuff.
112, that's going back in time a little bit there.
Totally. Like, I love that 90s R&B stuff. And I love 90s hip hop too, and 90s house, and
90s was great.
The 90s were like amazing. And then 2000 came along and it was like womp womp, cheese ball. I was like, what the hell happened? Everything went this weird cheesy electronic, and then it got deep again,
It's true. There was the 90s was I don't know if it was so much that people were being more innovative or experimental or what it was in the 90s, but it's like we hit the 2000. It's like the same old same.
Same old same, but I think it was actually the industry. Like, new synths were released and new technology came about in the studios.
So
people
technology
wanted that sound.
Technology killed creativity.
Technology, video killed the radio stuff.
Testing. Video.
But we still got a little more time to rock, and I'm gonna take you back to the spot. But we still got a little more time to rock, and I'm gonna take you back to the spot. But we still got a little more time to rock, and I'm gonna take you back to the spot. But we still got a little more time to rock, and I'm gonna take you back to the spot. And I'm gonna take you back to the spot. Close to dance with me, and I'm gonna take you back to the spot. Close to me, dance with me, and I'm gonna take you back to the spot. But we still got a little more time to rock. Dance with me, dance with me, dance with me. I see you looking at me. I can tell by your eyes that you're feeling me, and I really want you to get close to me. So what you five drop tops in the parking lot, and I'm gonna take you back to the spot. But we still got a little more time to rock. So what you I see you looking at me. I can tell by your eyes that you're feeling me, and I really want you to get close to me. So what you but we still got a little more time to rock. Drop tops in the parking lot, and I'm gonna take you back to the spot. But we still got a little more time to rock. So what you
I can see you over there, just chilling with your girlfriends. Can't believe it by yourself. You should be here with me, chilling with me, drinking with me, freaking with me. Oh, 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 yeah.
looking at me, I can tell by your eyes that you're close to me, and I really want you to get close to me. So what you dance with me? Drop tops in the parking lot, and I'm gonna take you back to the spot, baby.
I can see it in your eyes. You're looking at the sun. Wanna leave the spot, and I know you wanna leave with me. To chill with me, to drink with me, to freak with me. Oh, baby.
But we still got a little more time to rock. But we still got a little more time to rock. But we still got a little more time to rock, and I'm gonna take you back to the spot. But we still got a little more time to rock, and I'm gonna take you back to the spot. But we still got a little more time to rock, and I'm gonna take you back to the spot. But we still got a little more time to rock, and I'm gonna take you back to the spot. But we still got a little more time to rock, and I'm gonna take you back to the spot. But we still got a little more time to rock. Close to me. But we still got a little more time to rock. But we still got a little more time to rock. we still got a little more time to rock. But we still got a little more time to rock. But we still got a little more time to rock. If you're sexy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're sexy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're sexy and you know it, and you really wanna show it. If you're sexy and you know it, clap your hands. Yes. Looking at me. Dance with me.
If you're just joining us, that it was Cozmic Cat playing a few tracks that she's been producing, she's been working on. As a DJ, and DJs tend to have a little bit of leeway in manipulating, tracks. Somebody puts out a song, and then you often hear a DJ. They'll play it, but then they'll do a different version, to do a different mix. Now, how as a producer, so you produce you're created these, manipulated these tracks. That clearly they weren't house songs before; they're house songs now. How does that work with the artist? So when you're DJing, you play it. But then if you were to put it out there on YouTube or SoundCloud or anywhere, if you were to put it out there, how does that work with the artist kind of hearing their work out there from that perspective? Do they like kind of come knocking and say, "Hey, thanks for bringing me back," or are they kind of like, you're messing up with my sound, or
Well, it depends on the artist. Like there was a very famous case of I believe it was Danger Mouse redid the whole Jay-Z Black album, and also the Beatles album, and the labels came after him and said, like, it's copywritten material, you can't put it out there.
Yeah.
But then there was pressure from the public. It was so wildly popular. There was pressure from the public, and the artists themselves said, oh, hey, we actually love this.
Yeah.
So they let it go. But since then, that was like a while ago. That was the 90s or early 2000s. So right now, for example, I put out Beyonce Formation. I did a remix, and it was taken off of SoundCloud within like 2 days.
Yeah.
And I put it on YouTube, and it was recently taken off because as soon as she dropped Lemonade, they all search, all the little interns and everyone's searching for Beyonce, and they have bots actually that do it. And I'm not opposed to it. It's for promo use. I mean, I would never sell it. It's like they don't want to lose money of people downloading it. If they're all going to this Cozmic Cat's remix and they're not buying the original, they're afraid of losing money. And, I just think for me, it's a way to build my chops and get creative and have something unique for my set. And hopefully some other DJ will feel the same way. And people will be like, oh, I love this remix. I get good feedback on the remixes. So I've never had like an artist saying like, this is terrible, but I also don't run around. I don't do it for the artist. Like I'm not like, hey, what do you think, like hoping that they'll hire me or something. I'm just putting myself out there, and it's I think with music it definitely has to be for yourself. Yes, you will need to charge for your talent and your time, but if you're not making music for yourself, I've been there, and it's soul sucking. It doesn't get you far. Like at some part, there must be some part in it that you enjoy doing and gives you satisfaction.
Well, I would imagine it'd be difficult to put your passion into something that you're just kind of like, I'm just doing it for the money.
Yeah, you can see. I can see DJs and I can hear production, and I can see musicians like on stage that are just there for the money, and it's 100% different from someone who is like just the passion shining through in their performance, and you want to support them, you want to join the party. If someone's just like there, like being a kind of like a session musician or a hired gun, it can totally serve a purpose, and it's great. You need good music, blah blah blah, but it's just a different thing.
Well, yeah. Again, a lot of people are like, I got to pay some bills.
Of course,
I got rent to pay, and
I've been there.
Starbucks is not cutting it. So,
yeah, and if you can make part of your income doing, say, corporate stuff or things that aren't really close to you, then I consider myself lucky to do, say, corporate events that, on one hand, I used to think they're really boring and dry, and then I think, wow, I'm so lucky to be able to actually take a part of my passion and use it to make bills instead of doing something completely unrelated that I actually hate.
So what's coming up for you? We've got like 8 minutes left in the show. What's on the horizon? What are you working on? Next?
Well, I have quite a few gigs for the summer. With the Toronto Pride Festival, Ottawa Pride, and then all the events.
Ottawa's got a Pride Festival?
Yeah, it's called Capital Pride. It's quite big.
Capital. Okay,
yeah, it's not big as Toronto though, but yeah, it's. I mean, it's quite big. And so the Pride is coming up. I do a big party at Mod Club over Pride with my party Cherry Bomb, but I'm also doing tons of other different events at OCAD, events at the ROM. What else? I'm involved in this awesome project with this new artist that we've just connected. His name is Thane, and he's a great vocalist, and we're doing a kind of a tropical Afro house vibe project, like live PA, where I'm going to be making beats and we're going to be performing live. And I'm just like so excited because he's really talented.
So you're going to be DJing while he's singing? Or?
Yeah, I'm going to be DJing. So the idea of the whole show would be like I'll be DJing a couple tracks and then we'll drop tracks that I've produced and he'll sing over them, original tracks that we've created, and then maybe a couple covers.
See, this is one thing that you don't see a whole lot of. I remember years ago, a buddy of mine, we went to a jazz festival in Montreal. A few years. This is a few years back. Shout out to Bentley Springer.
Bentley, I know Bentley.
You know Bentley?
I know Bentley. What's up, Bentley?
Small world, eh?
Yeah.
So Bentley and I would just sort of side note here. This was like, oh God, like 93, 94. We just met each other, and a whole bunch of us were talking about going to the jazz festival, and everybody, because none of us had ever been. And most of everybody backed out except for Bentley and me. And I'm looking at Bentley, I'm like, I don't really know this guy that well. And he's looking at me like, I don't really know this guy that well. I was like, are we going to do this? We're like, yeah, let's just go see what happens. And so we went, and we ended up in this party on St. Catherine Street. And it was like upstairs, this loft thing. We walked in, they had instruments everywhere. And the DJ was playing. People were grabbing instruments, people that could play, people that can't play, just people were just grabbing. And then the singer got on stage and was ad-libbing while the DJ was doing his thing. And we were just so blown away by this because it's something that you never really see, wherein the audience is participating with all these drums and tambourines and all these different stuff. And then the singer's on there, and DJ's doing the mixing and the scratching, and the singer is just going crazy. The vibe in the room was just outrageous. And we came back to Toronto, we're like, we need this again. Like, we need to find somewhere that somebody's doing something like that, because it was such, because of the audience participation in it, whether or not you knew how to play the tambourine or not, didn't really matter. But just because it's almost like everybody kind of owned it because they were involved. There was so much love in the room. It was such an amazing experience.
It becomes less of a performance and more of an experience.
Exactly.
DJ Logic was one of the first people I saw really doing that, taking it to the next level, where they would tour and just be like, it'd be a big, huge jam session. I find it difficult to play with tons and tons of, especially percussionists. I find like it gets really like, whoa. If everyone's not perfectly in time, you're like, what the? But it's always a good time. So yeah, I hear
just ignore them, and hopefully they'll follow you.
Hopefully they'll follow me. Yeah, I can always be louder than them, right?
This is true.
Because I'm all cranked up. Yeah, so I think the thing with Thane is more like it will be more practiced and more like a performance than a jam session. But we do intend to have like live musicians with some of the songs that it's appropriate for, because it will be pretty soulful and Afrocentric. So there's lots of room for lots of awesome percussion and stuff.
Okay, so I'm gonna get you to play us out in the next few minutes that we have. But before you do that, again, I just want you to kind of just say how people can reach you if people are looking for you, somebody to do their bar mitzvah or their 2-year-old's birthday party or something like that.
Buddy. Thanks, buddy.
Then they can reach out to you. This way, it'll keep you from having to work at Starbucks or something like that. Keep you going.
Oh, I would make the worst coffee. Do not Starbucks Inc. Don't hire me. I'm a crappy barista.
So, how do people reach you to be able to book?
Well, the best way is just my website, www.djcozmic.com. I'm pretty much on every social media available. Like I do Snapchat, DJ Cozmic, Instagram, DJ Cozmic Cat, Facebook, Cozmic Cat, Twitter @DJ Cozmic. So I always pride myself on being extremely open in a world where people are obsessed with privacy. I'm like, just Google me. I'll come up. So I'm not hard to find. I'm at the Drake 150 every Thursday, and I'm at the Round every third Saturday. Those are the residencies, but there's tons of events on my website you can come check out or email me, djcozmic@gmail.com. I will reply. I'm not a snob.
It's definitely been a pleasure having you on the show. It's been a lot of fun getting inside your head.
This crazy rat's nest.
It's been a lot of
Thanks,
fun.
man. It was fun. You're awesome. It was great.
It was great to have you on the show. Definitely just play us out with a couple tunes. And for those in cyberspace, definitely catch up with us next week here on the Patrick O'More Show. Take it away, DJ Cozmic Cat.
Thanks again, Patrick.
internet radio station around. iLife Radio, the new social network.
I said that I love you so, and I mean it so. From the bottom of my heart, I'm telling you to play. Baby, I saw that something in your eyes. Comes to no surprise that you turn me oh so giddy.
What's up, people? This is Omar, and you're listening to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio.
Hey, this is Emily King, and you're listening to iLive Radio.
Rare groove, revival, slow jams, upfront, old school.
The best music around in stereo sound.
Music, back to back to back. iLive Radio.
How you doing? What's good? It's Nkechi the Lyrical, sitting in my zone here, vibing and listening to iLive. And if you don't know, get to know. And if you do know, you don't know. And if you know, then relax and enjoy the ride.
You're listening to iLive Radio. This is Jay Most. Enjoy.
Online and on the go on your mobile phone. We're the internet's best choice.
This is John Browski. If I'm not snapping necks, cashing checks, wearing the large specs, I'm tuned into iLive Radio.
You're listening to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio. iLive Radio.
The Soul Expression Show. The Soul Expression Show with DJ Sessions.